Happy Monday, Sonder family. Welcome to your weekly setup. You found us. We have some repeat offenders from last night. I got to lead the weekly setup last night. My name is Jennifer Ogilvy. I'm coming to you from the Dallas, Texas area with a hot cup of coffee. We're chilly again. We're not cold, but we're chilly. And yes, you have Team Jennifer together this morning. Jennifer Krippner, my co-pilot this morning, is coming to us from Minnesota. She's hopping on, gave you a wave this morning. I'm so glad to be back. Last week I got to be Jennifer's person in the chat while she presented to you. It was a nice way to put my toes back in reality. Allison asked me how my vacation was. Of course, vacation. It was wonderful. Having a little trouble getting that rhythm and routine back, but really glad to be back with you all. And I put up this little Monday check-in, and I was really curious about your answer to number 4. Let's think about how you can practice self-care this week. Like, what is one thing that you can do? And share that in the chat, but also keep that front of mind because as we do our setup this morning, I want to encourage you to put that one thing somewhere in your weekly plan. Maybe it's a long shower with by candlelight. Maybe you need to paint your toes. Perhaps you need to just sit with a physical book for 10 minutes and give yourself a little space to read or go outside and gaze upward at the sky and take some deep breaths. Think of all the small ways that you can practice self care and then share that in the chat because you'll inspire one another with those things. Akasua says she's going to do her Tai Chi. My husband's talking about learning how to do the walking Tai Chi. So I love that you said that. But would love to know getting your nails done. Oh, Sonia, nothing better, right? When somebody's pampering you, curl up with tea. That's a good one on a chilly day or evening. I love that moment of hot tea at night in the wintertime. I'm pretty steady with that. Once it gets hot, and I can't get my house cooler than 80 degrees, I sort of get rid of that habit. But thank you for changing that. Maybe it's decluttering a small space that will give you peace. I actually put that on my list this week as I need to tidy up my bedroom and put some things away and just kind of get rid of that clutter because that'll give me some peace. So, scheduling a doctor's appointment, Cassie, great call out. That is extreme. That is like I always say, doctor's appointments are grown-up self-care. Like those are the things we may not want to do, but so important. So, yeah, if any of you are inspired by that, maybe there's a doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Maybe you need to balance the checkbook and see, make sure you're on top of your financial health. So thank you for sharing. You guys have some great inspiration. Oh, relaxing with an audiobook and a puppy. Come on, Lori, nothing better. That's like perfect. So keep sharing as you are entering what you're planning to do to answer number 4 this week, how you're going to take care of yourself, practice a little self-care. So yes, you have Team Jennifer on the call. We want to ask you to make sure that your chat is set to everyone so that we can share with one another. I've been kind of starting off by looking at that I am loving space. I think it's such a great way to frame out how we want to embrace our week. If you'll turn to page 53, that's the setup week that we'll be working on, and let's start considering what are you loving. I personally am loving the pit. We had missed several weeks, so my husband and I, after keeping our grandkids this weekend, we curled up on the couch last night and got caught up. Oh, that is just a show that is stealing my heart. Alice says she's loving that spring is in sight. Alice, you are reading my mind. That's one of my buds for the week. What are you loving? Share that in the chat right now. Did you find a new little hole in the wall restaurant? Are you enjoying the rest of winter and leaning into that? Yeah, spring. What else? No, come on, y'all. What are you loving? Let's get those brains cooking. Share in the chat what you are. Snow on the tree branches. Oh, I love that, Jean. A new bakery. I love. Oh, yum, 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 yum. I have a fun little downtown bakery that I just love to go to. A little local joint. The power of faith for sure, Sonia. You've shown your faith in how you've navigated your cancer journey. Thank you for sharing that one in the chat. Yay, Michelle's husband's going to be taking on some cooking duties. Okay, you've got some good loving things. There they are. Yeah, now I want to go get in the car. Somebody said, "Ooh, bakery, Carly, let's go." I'll meet you there. Creativity. Oh, the night agent, Christine. What is it on? Share, because I love a good binge. Oh, JM finished taxes. Good for you. That's another grown-up self-care. Maybe that could be something that goes on how you're going to practice good self-care this week is start tackling those taxes. Okay, great. Keep those things coming. Sending out get well cards, fresh pancakes for breakfast. I love. Okay, it's on Netflix. Night Agent is on Netflix. So if y'all are looking for a new show, we got a couple of friends saying watch that. I love this community. Speaking of community, here are those guidelines when we get together. You guys have all seen this before, but maybe somebody's sitting here brand new and you have your March journal and you're going to check out what this community is all about. If that's you, drop a me in the chat because all these wonderful people are going to want to welcome you to this setup time. This is our time that we hold ourselves accountable. A lot of folks will just come, they know what they're going to do, and they just put, nose down and pen to paper. But I will also have some examples to share you. Hey, Cheyenne, welcome. We're glad to see you on a Monday morning. I love the Monday morning bunch. We are a very special group because we're very consistent with who is here and how we invest in each other's lives. And I love that. So keep this appointment with yourself. It really does help you use this journal. So I'll be sharing examples of how folks use their journals. Maybe something will inspire you. And those of you who already have your setup and you kind of know what you're going to do, you'll still see some examples of maybe some ideas to think about incorporating at some point along the way. Yeah, Monday fam rocks. Monday fun day. So we are, and then we have that final reminder, number 7, about when we are here and working together, especially through a theme like belief. We've been doing some deep digs this month. We want you to take care of yourself. So always remember that if you're working in your journal and you're maybe considering prompts or it gets deep and you're not feeling it, give yourself that space to work on it when you're feeling better and your mind is ready to tackle it. So I've loved belief this month. I've shared this quote. I told y'all that when I was about 9 or 10, I don't know if it was in the classroom or Sunday school, but somebody had, this is a quote that sort of has come along life with me. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And it's attributed to Henry Ford. And I've always loved that. Love that quote. And it really, for me, speaks to belief. And it's about that internal belief system that you have. And I think one of, having that little engine that could mentality, that's kind of guided me. And that's been the foundation of my belief system. So I wanted to share that with you. This morning, we are finishing up our belief mind map. Cheyenne, you're new here. When you come to weekly setups, you get a bonus prompt that does a deep dig into our theme of the month. So we are on week 4. You're welcome to grab a screenshot, any of you, of the 4 questions. I'll share those. But we're really going to dig into our final question, and it's kind of a doozy. I know many folks have said that these have been some deeper questions. I had the opportunity to do the mind map questions this month, so if you didn't like them, you can blame me. Um, but I thought we really did need to take a moment to dig deep into our souls about recognizing who we are and being so proud of the system of beliefs that we have um, curated for ourselves. We're going to do our rosebud thorn reflection, look back over this past week, and then we'll do those weekly setup pages. My goal is to end so that you can get on with life at 10 o'clock. So here we go. So the belief mind map, you were invited to find a blank space in your journal, or you can do it on a side, another piece of paper, scratch pad. Maybe you have a sidekick, I would say sidekick journals. And we looked at these beliefs that have shaped us throughout our lives. And so we were slowing down this month to notice them. And each week we had a space to reflect with curiosity and kindness. And this was not about fixing anything. There is no pressure and there's no right answers. These are all very personal. Write what feels true right now and trust whatever comes up is enough. So, week one, we looked at those beliefs that we inherited that just became part of who we are. Week two, we looked at maybe some beliefs that we thought protected us, but as we became ourselves and through authentic living, we realized that maybe those beliefs are limiting us. And so we maybe changed those up. We let it go. Week three was about crisis. Like, where have you seen yourself tested along the way, along life's bumps and hills and valleys? And this week is pretty personal and pretty amazing. And so you might want to just sit with this a little bit before you write. Maybe this is something you'll kind of work on in the evenings when time's quiet, because you could really fill some pages with this. But it's about your truth. What belief feels true even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unpopular? And y'all, when I grew up, I remember there was a poster somewhere, another poster. I think I'm very visual. And it said, integrity is what you do or how you behave when no one is watching. And so that really kind of like what you do, what is that deep, deep, deep inside or belief system for you? And so then this uncomfortable or unpopular belief, it asks me to, and we fill that in. So some things to think about is, how does this belief guide your choices when no one is watching, right? Like that poster. Where do you live this belief quietly rather than publicly? Like, those quiet decisions that you make day to day to day and how you conduct yourself. And then what does it ask of you? Courage, boundaries, compassion, restraint, something else? And I'll tell you, I don't have my example up, but where I landed as I consider this in my life is that my faith system, what I believe, comes out big here. I was part of a big church denomination that had a huge split. I chose to go in one direction. Some people that are very important to me, people in family, they chose to go in another direction. And so that's inconvenient and it's uncomfortable. Additionally, I think right now we're in this season, this political season. That's a biggie that where my faith shows up. And then I also think about like women, and I don't know if y'all saw like, there was so much joy in our athletes in the Olympics. And and I think what I loved seeing in those women that medaled was the way they took up space unapologetically. And so I think that just as women, we deal with that, right? We've been told not to be big and not to take up space. So you start really digging into these core beliefs that are deep down, and it really does reveal a lot in a lot of different, it's almost like a web. So I'm going to put on a little bit of music, probably not nearly enough for this prompt, but you might want to grab a screenshot, take a little picture, let this marinate, start jotting down the things that are showing up for you. I was sharing with Jennifer, my brother has been on a sobriety journey. And so it looks like there's going to be a divorce. And he has struggled because of his belief system about divorce and marriage, and yet he knows he's got to be healthy and not have triggers looking at him every single day. So he's been balancing what he believed about marriage and this covenant with sobriety and health. So we all have these things in our life where this our scales are constantly doing that. Take a deep breath and maybe again just capture this question, but be thinking about it. And I know you may or may not write, but I know that it's bubbling around in your head. And so I hope that it reveals that beautiful soul that you have and that you own and that you express in the way you live your life. Thanks for sharing, y'all. I know that this can be a tough dig. It can also be, something that's right there that you just, totally believe and you feel confident. Thank you for those of you who were comfortable sharing in the chat. Let this one kind of guide your soul. I think it's a pretty deep one, and I appreciate you spending time with this prompt. I was going back through the chat. I wanted to shout out to Suzanne. She thanked everybody, in case you missed it, for all the good juju that you put into the world because her husband's open heart surgery went well. And she had shared that earlier in the chat. I'd missed that. So we're so glad for that, Suzanne. That's definitely a rose for you. And we're going to tackle that page now. So I'm going to invite you to go look at page 50 for your rosebud thorn from last week. We love this exercise in gratitude because it really does show us what the week brought. And these can be very small moments, they don't have to be huge. We look at those things that have been challenging or stressing or things that didn't go well. And I laugh because, one week I didn't have a thorn and then I had like lots of thorns the next week. So I always look for a thorn. But where is an area that you could use a little more support in, that could be a thorn? Our bud is what we're looking forward to. What's giving you that motivation, that hope. Last night we realized that, sometimes it's just a fresh week is your bud, a brand new week, a brand new start. And then the rose are the things that you're grateful for. You can have more than one. Hopefully you have a bouquet this week, but what's something that you're grateful for or positive in your life? And sometimes all one thing can be all of the things. Like it could be a high and a low. So it's really about what your week brought you. For me, my thorn I shared last night, I got a jury summons ah in the mail, and jury duty just stresses me out, and having to go downtown to big buildings and fight traffic and all that just stresses me out. But what really stressed me out is that when I got it and I looked at the date, it was a Monday morning, and we know that I have things to do on Monday morning, like hang out with the Sonder family. So I've asked for a deferral. I'm going to be waiting to hear from that to see if I can't get it moved. But oh yes, Carolyn, tis the season because last night a lot of people were like, "Oh my gosh, I also got a jury summons." I feel like I just did it a year ago, but it's obviously been longer than that. But this one's for juvenile court. So I'm a little anxious about that one because of my career with kids and stuff. I feel like I have a pretty good chance of getting selected. Um, my bud is days in the garden. They're coming up. I'm just starting to think about it and get excited and, work in the dirt, getting things ready for, I'm a gardener. And so I can't wait for that. And then my rose was very simple. I had a beautiful lunch with a friend that we go way, way back. My daughter used to babysit her kids, blah, blah, blah. They moved to France. I got to go visit her when she was in France. They ended up back in the Dallas area. And so we are both here. We're across the town from each other. She's kind of suburb of Fort Worth, but we get together. And when we get together, it's like we haven't missed a day. And that just filled my soul. And second, I want to talk about our thorns. When we are looking at our thorns, I also want you to find that silver lining. What is a blessing from it, or what is a learning from it? And, when I think about my jury duty, I am very grateful that we have juries of our peers. I'm grateful for that system that is in our country. And so I'm trying to find joy in that. Anyway, I'm going to put on a little bit of music, share in the chat what you are excited about from last week and where you might need a little more support because we can send out those good things into the universe for one another. Thank you for taking a moment to look at your roses and the thorns and then the things that you're looking forward to that can really create that good balance. I love this reflection every week, and I love how you all support each other. So love it. Oh, Michelle, I'm so glad. Michelle was at last night's weekly sit up, and I can remember you're like, it's not hitting tonight. I'm glad that you were able to maybe, sit with it for a little bit. Sometimes that happens. We need a little bit of time. So I'm going to invite you now to turn to pages 52 and 53 in your February journal. This is the last week of February. Now, if you are new, you might be sitting with your March journal, which also happens to have this week in it. So I love that. If February's been tough and you're tired of looking at February and you want to see some nice, fresh, pristine pages, no one's going to judge you if you jump into your March journal and just, get going in that one. Get some fresh pages. It can do a lot for your psyche when you see the freshness and the newness. So really about what you want to do. So if you're in March, you're going to be on pages 26 and 27, this brand new week. Now I'm finishing up in February, so these pages are going to be my extra notes pages for the month of March. You know how we run out of notes pages, so we'll have a little extra space for daily rituals and responses to all of our prompts. So whatever journal you pick, it doesn't matter, no right or wrong way. Just take what you need. If you need to see some freshness, jump into March. So I have a couple of examples to show you. I love all the things that folks post in Sonder Club, and I like to bring them front of mind so that you can just see how different people set up. So here's a couple of examples from y'all. And the one on the right, we all fell in love with the little garden gnomes. Just using that to-do sticker as a space to hold some sweet little stickers. I just love that. Oh, Amber, happy birthday. You might want to jump into March. Just makes your birthday that much closer. The one on the right also is going to track three things. Just that permission. We always say you don't have to do all the habits and activities and set goals and track everything. She needed three things, so that's what went on this page. Now notice the one on the left. Instead of habits and activities, she's named this section routines. And she, instead of doing goals, she kind of wrote where these routines need to happen. And I loved that kind of changing up of using this space. So, like at her desk, there's like this drink water, stretch, breathe, eat, text. She's given herself like some locations. One thing I loved about that is like when you're on your phone texting, you've said it's going to happen in these spaces and nowhere else. So she's putting in some parameters with that. So think about maybe a way you can repurpose that space. I love the idea of putting those locations in there, kind of like where she has teeth, she's got night coaching. So maybe I don't know if this is like an audio coach, and so she's multitasking, doing the habit stacking. But I thought it was a great call out to that to see a little bit different use of that space. And then these two pages are the same page. One is a before and one is after. Gloria had posted a finished page, and I loved just being able to see like what her setup was for the front end of the week over there on the left. And then she posted at the end of the week, here's what my week looked like. And you can see how she tracked her habits and activities. She actually was inspired by her word of the week. She wanted to feel lighter. And then you see down for habits and activities, she's just written, I will feel lighter if I, and then she has these tasks that will support that. And she tracked it by giving herself a little love. So drawing in little hearts. She used different colors just to pop up the page. I always use black ink, but and then always she has these sweet little doodles. So again, anytime you can doodle, it engages a part of your brain that maybe isn't getting used as much. But she noticed how she did. I want to feel lighter by, and then she said, releasing perfection and embracing creative expression. So she's sort of just like all encompassing with that mind. Yes, and Gloria is she's such a super inspirational user because she does help us kind of see possibilities. She's tracking her to-do list with highlighters. So yeah, just I thought it was fun to see her before and her after. And I appreciated that she shared that with us. So we always start with how we want to feel this week. This can be one word. Y'all start dropping in what you're thinking. Oh, Tina, that's a great question. Gloria posted it in Sonder Club. I just happened to be paying attention that week and I got her set up after she was done setting up and then she posted at the end of the week. So she did those two posts. So I grabbed those screenshots to share with y'all. Yeah, I was paying attention. You can do, I love this week. I want to feel open. And then there's the ways that they want to feel open, open to others' opinions, open to people, and open to not assuming, which I thought was really good. I also, this is an oldie. I want to feel productive like a squirrel storing acorns. I thought if you're decluttering this week, store those acorns in those boxes that you're going to get rid of. That was kind of fun. Somebody's having a birthday, so they just want to feel happy birthday. So really it's about taking what you need for the week. I want to feel ease. Oh, Mary Ellen, that's a great word. I'm gonna just back on track. I'm back to that, needing to get those rhythms and routines. Y'all know I struggle with those. So that's me, just back on track this week. Let's see here. Okay, keep dropping how you want to feel, and we're gonna take that into our weekly goals and our to-dos. We'll explore some examples of what that looks like. I always share those three categories. So, for anybody who might be new here, sometimes we sit and look at those goals and we're like, we don't know what to do. And it's really helpful to maybe do something like a mind goal, a body goal, and a soul goal. And so you just write mind, body, soul, and then you kind of fill in the blank so that you're very intentional with those areas of your life. Or maybe delete, delegate, and delight. So I've got some examples to show you. Um, Also, those of you who have done a word of the year, how does that show up in your weekly goals? And we are at the end of the month. So what's left undone that you wanted to make sure happened this month? Go look at your intentions. How you doing? Are you checking on those? Did they resonate? Did they come to fruition like you had hoped? And maybe that stop, start, and continue space that you filled out on pay at the bottom of page 8. Those can really guide those major goals. So take a look at those and see where you are, or maybe go backward and what is undone and all the undones come into this week so that you can feel like, okay, I did what I wanted to do. So just some examples to share with you. The one in the middle is kind of neat because there's many trackers there. So their three goals were fresh air, hydrate, and having a protein shake lunch. And then they've made themselves a little tracker for each one of those. So kind of like it would look like the habit and activity tracker below. Just a way to have that accountability. And I'll go back through all of these while you're working on it. So if you miss something, no worries, you'll be able to look at that. So I had mentioned the idea of delete, delegate, and delight. Look at the bottom and the middle there. There's how someone is framing their goals out that way. And then the one next to it over there on the right is the mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, soul. So those three goals with some information. Now you can also put a quote here, like the one you see in the upper middle, if that's what guides you for the week. The one on the left, there's the three goals, and there's how they're going to make those three goals happen. And then we'll jump into those to-dos. Sometimes the goals directly inform the to-dos, like you see these two examples here. But I want to point out that the one upper left, instead of a weekly to-do, it's a weekly to-be. And I have a whole big slide on ways to have a to-be list that will be coming up, but they've tied those things into those goals of mind, body, soul. The one below that, instead of weekly to-dos, it's weekly no's. So what am I saying no to to protect my mind, to protect my body, to protect my soul. And so they made a little grid there of things that they're going to do, the boundaries that they're going to put in place. And then, of course, we always have the Eisenhower matrix. We share this, but I want to know, like, have you ever used the Eisenhower matrix anytime? Drop in the chat if you've done that and you took all those to-dos and you plugged them into these boxes. Share how that worked for you. And we've got, yeah, the examples there. Haven't used it. Okay, Tina, you have used it. So this is a really good tool if your to-do list just has grown and grown and grown and grown and grown, and you're like, now I'm overwhelmed. This is a really great way to prioritize those important and urgent things and maybe look at things in a way that you can delegate or drop it. Just drop it for now, maybe delay it. You could change that drop it box to delay and maybe push that into another time period. Yeah, it can be useful. I was curious because we shared this often. And I was wondering who actually has used it. Patricia says it helps her a lot. So I love that. Jennifer dropped a link if you want to go read a little more about that Eisenhower matrix. Here's a way of dividing that to-do list into a need, want, and hope. And then, keeping a worries list. That's a really great little mini brain dump. So if you feel a little overwhelmed, maybe save this space for that. Or a to don't list. What are the things you don't need to do? A lot of times, that social media, that mindless scrolling shows up here. And I'm going to encourage you if you do things like a to don't list, give yourself some ideas of a go to. So if you're trying to maybe not do social media, what are the alternatives? Write that somewhere, put power into paper. And, it might be go fix a cup of tea, pick up a physical book, step outside for 10 minutes. So give yourself some substitute activities so that you still feed that dopamine hit that you seek when you get on those social medias. Make a to-do list, keep it blank, and just celebrate the things that happen. Um, Keep a distractions list. That could also be like a don't list. The things that you need to now, I'm not saying don't do it. Sometimes you can reward yourself. Like if I get this done, then I'm going to go binge two episodes of XYZ. But if focus is an issue, and then there's that to be list, and these words are so beautiful. So you might want to just use that. Let's see where we are with time. Okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes to work on this, and then we'll drop down to that habit and activity box. Share how you're setting up your goals and your to-dos and what they are this week, because you may inspire someone else. love how some of you have brought up that you are on a Lenten journey. And so that's showing up in your journal and how you're interacting with, setting your goals and habits and all that good stuff. So that's a great call out. Jennifer Wood shared that she's just done with social media and she's been using that as using the Sonder Club as her connection to social media rather than, the Instagrams and the Facebooks. And so she's kind of curated her use in a very positive way to where she's fueling those really good things because the community is so positive. You don't have to worry about, bumping into some very angry people along the way. So I love that call out to our Sonder Club. So really focusing, kind of shifting over into Sonder Club. So let's drop down to our habit and activity tracker, and we'll take a quick look at that. And I'll give you a little bit of time to work on this. I've shared this. I shared this at the like my first weekly setup. The belief in yourself. I just loved seeing that. So maybe that goes somewhere in your setup this week. This person obviously wasn't doing their habit and activity tracker, and that's that reminder that that's permission to not do it. And then the one below it, you can see they're just giving themselves a long weekend off. So, you take what you need from this. You don't have to fill in all the lines, you don't have to set goals. You can just straight track. The one in the upper left is actually one of my old ones, and I had tried to point myself to go back to pages in my journal. It's a little blurry. I apologize for that. But like, reminding myself, go check your monthly habit tracker, that habit tracker wheel. I was doing the gratitude list that month, and I was doing it by one word every day. So that's why it says daily gratitude, one word, but pointing myself back to that page. And then I was reusing my expense tracker as a place to write a financial affirmation to counter my scarcity mindset. And so that was that reminder to go look at that expense tracker. So I used that habit and activity tracker to go look at other things that I had going on in my journal. You can set goals. You don't have to set goals. You can circle days. You need certain things to happen, like you see the bottom example there. And it's again all about taking what you need. And these little challenges or this self care today graphic are great resources to pull some things for this section, or you might put it on your next page. But if you're kind of like, if you're looking at trying to eat more nutritionally balanced diet, then maybe eat healthy food. And you write that as one of the things you track, or read 15 minutes a day. I actually, on my tracker this week, I have read a physical book 10 plus minutes every day because I've just gotten out of those habits. And then here's some feel good habits, some things that are going to just soothe your soul and feed your soul. So let's put on a little bit of music and work on this. And then we'll go take a look at our page 2. right. Feel free to share in the chat what you'll be tracking here, or if you're repurposing or just not tracking, or if you're going to try a little something like we saw at the front end, where maybe you create the space that certain things happen and you've put your routines there. Would love to know that and would love to see that in Sonder Club as well. So now we're going to pop over to our second part of our setup. Again, these pages are, you're welcome to use them just as they are printed, but you'll see a lot of repurposing here. And so here's two examples, two full pages from our Sonder Club family. And I love that there's a lot of sticker use on both of these pages. You see the shopping list. Both folks have chosen to put some happy stickers there. And then that mind body health plan on the left there, it's grow through what you go through. What a great quote for that particular space about mind body health. The other person has decided to do their noticing of daily glimmers, just those small moments that just made you smile, brought you joy, and doing a reflection on what I did well. And the person on the left is daily time in the Word. So if you're on a Lenten journey, perhaps you're using this space for your scripture or your daily readings. And then, this meal plan space is so big. This isn't all exhaustive list, but we've got lots of ideas that we've seen in the past listed here for a repurpose. So maybe one of these will speak to you. I'll go back through these so you can grab a screenshot if you see something you like or have a little more time to read through it while we're actually working on the page. Here's three examples of using the meal plan for either tracking or planning or kind of looking at things like your macros in your different categories. So all of these have to do with nutrition, but they've been personalized to meet people's needs. I always love the meal plan for the soul. We talk about that, those little mini journaling reflection questions, a space for doodling, appointments, maybe National Day of goes here, and you embrace the day with the National Day of. And I actually have a few of those coming up, so you could pull from there if you want to make your days a little fun. I shared this in week one of this month. This is a really great reminder about giving yourself a space to pause and notice and kind of recenter. This is great to put in this mind body health space so that you write it down, you see it, and you could do this on a daily basis as a little break. You just stop for a moment and you detach from all the around you and you look for five things you can see. What are four things you can touch? What are three things you hear? Two things you smell? And one thing that you can taste, and it just helps you decompress and recenter. So putting this like in a space like your mind body health is such a great reminder to do that. We've got a lot of other ideas for this space. I always call it my selfish space. What am I going to do for me? So that question number four at the very front end of our journal, when we're doing this Monday morning check-in, what are you doing for your self-care this week? This is the kind of stuff that I put in this space. So you can see some suggestions there. And here are some great, I love this one, upper left. How did I care for myself today? Just that simple question. We used this last night, and a lot of people said, I'm going to do that. And just a little reflection. Did I care for myself? You could do a menu here and draw lines on the days that happened, like you see at the bottom. So this person wanted to have moments of mindfulness. And so that happened on Tuesday and Thursday. They did a reset and renew on Friday and Sunday. So using kind of that draw the line space. Love that. The one over there on the right, all W words: walk, water, watch, wait, and want. And here are the special days this week. I'll hold on this slide when we come back to it while you're working on this so you can do it. But I mean, it's banana bread day, folks. So go check those bananas. Maybe they are begging to be baked into bread. Or you could do like the alliteration, a mindful Monday and a tuneful Tuesday, just to bring a little fun to your journal. Yeah, it's Tootsie Roll Day for those who celebrate. I always love a challenge, and a challenge is a great thing to show up in one of these spaces. So maybe you do a home fitness challenge, or maybe you've seen this 1 week declutter challenge. The digital declutter. This is a really good way to tackle some of that overwhelming digital part of your life. So, if you don't do it this week, you might want to snap a picture of this and save it for later because it's a really good way to take baby steps into diving into the 10,000 emails that are just hanging out. In your journal. And then, of course, we have the shopping list that can be used as a shopping list, as you see the example up there in the upper left, or maybe it's just a reminder to not have shopping days. And lots of us use this space as a bingo for whatever. Like it could be your task bingo, your chore bingo. It could be a celebration bingo. It can be all the fun things you want to do. If it's your birthday week or an anniversary week, do a bingo all around that. How are you going to celebrate in small ways? I love a good bingo. Lots of us incorporate a bingo in our life every week in this space. Here's an idea of looking at incorporating weekly intentions with a great example from one of our Sonder family members. And then a couple more, there's another bingo of joyful things. Another bingo on the bottom there of just some sweet things. They actually, this one, the one on the bottom right, complete Ikigai page, attend a class or a workshop. Some of those can be some of your Sonder things you want to do this week. Bookish nonsense. I love that. Maybe framing out your week as a weekly quest. That's always fun. So let me put on some music and share what you do with these spaces and how you'll be setting them up. And then we'll come back and close out our time. You know what they say about time flies when you are having fun. I'm really so proud of you for carving out this time with your journal to be intentional, to have the kind of week that you want to have. Thank you for joining Team Jennifer this morning. Remember, this has been recorded, and so you'll be able to access a copy of that recording very soon. Make it a great week. Finish February in the way that just helps you believe in yourself. You all are beautiful people, and we appreciate the time that you gave to your Sonder family this morning.